Hi, today I'm going to be making a journal page celebrating the summer solstice. This was supposed to be my upload for the One Sketch Challenge on the 1st of June, but I had some technical sound gremlins, which meant I had to do a huge workaround. Hence the reason it's a day late. I'm very sorry to Lisa and my fellow collaborators for my late video. Hello! The 1st of June means it's time for another One Sketch Challenge hosted by Lisa over at Crafting Diva. All the people taking part will be listed in the description box below, so please do pop over and see what everyone has created. This is the sketch we're using this month, and I've decided to turn it into a journal page inspired by the summer solstice. Because this particular journal does not take much water, I'm going to build my page on a piece of watercolour cardstock, and I'm using script stamp from the Hobby Art background set and a VersaFine Clear ink in Acorn. With my stamping done, I've added some antique linen distress oxide. I've cut my 3 strips ready, and on this top strip I use VersaFine Clear in Shaded Lane and one of the leaf stamps from the Hobby Art Grasses and Leaves set. On the bottom strip I'm adding grasses from the same stamp set using Shaded Lane again, but stamping as a second generation, so I'm just stamping off on a scrap piece to the side of me. And for the middle strip, I decided to add flowers. I used VersaFine Clear Morning Mist as I thought black would be too harsh. And I also know I don't need too much detail here because my oval focal image will cover the area. There is a stalk missing, but I just add that in with a pen. So summer solstice this year falls on the 21st of June, and it marks the longest day and the shortest night. Even though I'm not a summer person, as lots of you probably know, I do love the connection to nature at this time of year, so I wanted to create something with that in mind. And I've gone for a sort of midsummer meadow look, so trying to create a lot of light on the page. I'm using my Kuretake real brush pens to colour in, and for the grasses I'm just adding a few flicks of different greens to try and get some depth and shadow, but I'm also leaving white space so it looks sort of sunlit. You may remember that back in February I created an in-bulk page, and then on the 1st of May I made a Beltane page. If you didn't see those videos and you would like to, they are linked in this playlist. For the flowers, I turned these ones into buttercups with some yellows, and then I added English lavender and lilac to create my little lavender bloom. I'm not sure what flowers I was thinking of, but these ones are just pink, so you can make up your own mind what they might be. I've added a deep green for the lavender stem and a light green for those leaves. And I've also used that on the stem of the buttercup. And I decided to add some spritzing to give a more dappled effect on my background. On this section I'm adding some tumbled glass, even distress oxide, and just doing a background wash. Now I should have done this before I added the colour to my leaves, because obviously the Kuretake pens do react to water, but I did manage to work around it. And whilst that's drying, I do the same on the middle strip, but this time I'm using a bit less water just to try and make that area a bit stronger. Obviously I don't need to worry about colouring in the centre because my focal image will cover that. And for the final strip I'm using some bundled sage to give another tone of green, and some scattered straw to add to the sunlit effect. For my focal image, I've used a hare from the Hobby Art Hedgerow hare set. stamped in VersaFine Claire Acorn, and I've created a mask for it so I can stamp the grasses and the flowers, and I stamped those in Shaded Lane. At this point, I realise I'm becoming slightly obsessed with hares, because I also used a hare in my in bulk page, although that wasn't the hobby art stamp set, so it is a different hare. And as I mentioned, I've got some masking on my hair, so I can then go in and colour with the bundled sage to create some more depth to the grasses, and scattered straw to add some sunlight to the top. And then I add some Kuretake real brush pens to colour in the flowers. Unfortunately, this bit of video became corrupt, so there's not much of it left. But I peel back that mask and the hair is still pristine white, so I can colour that in my brown colours. I'd love to be able to speed this bit up, but unfortunately every time I do that it seems to corrupt the video, so you'll just have to bear with me. It doesn't take too long. And one final stamp that I wanted to add is the bee stamp, so I'm going to do that after I've added some Distress Oxide in the scattered straw around the edges of these two pieces. Now the bee stamp is far too big for this image. It actually looks like it's the size of the hare's head, so we'll just have to suspend belief on that for a moment. But this is a Lavinia Stamps mini bee stamp, and I've stamped it in the Morning Mist from VersaFine Claire, and then I colour it in with a microliner pen because obviously the gaps are quite small. And then I add some black dots as a trail to show movement. And yeah, that is far too big for the hair image, but never mind. I still think it's a lovely stamp. And finally, some gold splatters to my page. And I've covered my hair, so my hair didn't get any gold splats on it because I didn't want that. Unfortunately, I forgot to cover my desk and my keyboard, so they did get some gold splatter. And that is my June 1 Sketch Challenge Summer Solstice-inspired journal page finished. If you haven't already popped over to all the other collaborators taking part, please do take a look at what they've made. There's always so many different inspirations and ideas. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, cheerio.